Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 133. Hard to believe we're already at 133, but we are very excited. And today we will be doing a little recap on my first month in China. For our listeners out there who are just joining the Untranslatable Podcast, I have been in Jinan for 1 month now. Today is the official day that marks the 1 month mark. Hard to believe. I don't know where the time has gone, and I'm sure Jared has some interesting questions. Some of them that I probably will not be able to answer, but I'm looking forward to the ones that I can answer. And I think we're going to have a good time today talking about some observations and hopefully, what's the right phrase here? And hopefully being able to appease Jared's curiosity about what's been going on in China, and hopefully yours as well, to all of our wonderful listeners out there. So without further ado, my good buddy Jared, what's going on, Jared?
I'm here with the hard-hitting questions. People want to know, and I'm here to get what the people want. But
get
first,
that scoop,
please.
Jared.
Yeah. This just in. Chad hates China.
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to get deported tomorrow, and then there won't be any more China episodes.
That's not true, by the way. That was just a joke, everyone. Please. Sometimes I try to make jokes. Most of them don't land, but I enjoy myself.
Spread a little love.
Regardless, please follow us on Instagram. You'll probably see some more sad attempts at jokes, but at least you'll see nice pictures as well. Or you can follow us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. There you'll find the episode posted every Monday and Thursday. We'll be there for you. Guarantee. That's a guarantee that if we don't come through on we owe you $6,000 each. Also, please
spread a little love.
Because we hold true to our side of the guarantee. We only ask that you give us 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. And you can email us on translatable.podcast@gmail.com. And we're on YouTube. You can watch our videos on Translatable Podcast. You can see the Song of the Pod playlist. Come on. Anyway, yeah, so you have been in China for a month. Time kind of flies by, to me at least, having still been here in the U.S. doing my normal thing.
Right.
But it's also, before we get into that, you're going to Mongolia soon.
I am. Yeah. I'm leaving today.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know if I knew. I guess I didn't know that. I'm just a scatterbrain. What do you know about? Well, first of all, why are you going? What's this for? What's in Mongolia?
So I'm going to Mongolia.
Barbecue?
That's right. I am going to Mongolia for actually 2 conferences. So there's one conference called ELTAM, which is ELT, which is English Language Teaching. I would assume English Language Teaching Association of Mongolia would be my guess what the acronym stands for. Okay. I could be wrong. But there I will be giving a talk on using music in the language classroom and give some demonstration activities for teachers to hopefully be able to use in their classroom. So that will be fun.
What kind of activities? I don't mean to, like, if you can't tell me because it'll ruin the show.
I can give you some examples. So one of them is called, let me try to think of all the names here. One of them, well, first of all, my favorite activity that I explain is called the English Class Blues. And so I explain what comprises a 12-bar blues. In terms of lyrics, I could have talked about the chords as well, but chances are most of the teachers out there aren't guitarists and pianists, so they won't be able to play the chords anyways.
From not getting into the weeds? Because whenever we talk, you can't. And listen, I love it, just being clear. But
right.
You can actually actively say, all right, you don't need to get into the weeds about the chord.
Well, so what I do is I play 2 examples. Right. So I actually play 2 examples. So I keep myself out of the weeds by having a few examples ready to play. So what I do is I explain how to write like a very simple 1-verse 12-bar blues, right? So you need basically you have your A statement, and then you repeat that statement, and then you have a B statement that rhymes with the end word of the A statement. So So I'll try to think of one on the fly, because it's not that difficult. You just got to think of an end word that's very rhymable. So Jared, give me an end word that's rhymable, something in English that it's easy to rhyme.
Pen.
Pen. Okay. All right. I packed for Mongolia, and I got my favorite pen. I packed for Mongolia, and I got my favorite pen. I think it'll be a great time, and I hope I can go again.
Oh, wow. That was almost
Just
an
like
Eminem-esque rhyme.
Yeah. Right? So, and that's the format of it. And so I play two examples. I play Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Although the guitar player in me dies a little bit because I have to go 1 minute into the song, and that whole first minute is just epic guitar solo. So that makes me a little sad.
I just imagine you going on like a 6-minute solo in the class.
Right. To be like, wait, just listen to this, right. But then I also play kind of
here for you.
Right. And then I also play Sweet Home Chicago by Robert Johnson, who he was like one of the premier blues guys back in the day. He's kind of, as a guitar player, he's kind of the king of acoustic blues. And there's also a sweet special on Netflix right now that talks about him. I believe it's called Devil at the Crossroads or something like that. So check that out. But yeah, so that's one activity. Another activity I do is it's called, I'm trying to remember because I have the PowerPoint slide, so I don't have all this memorized. Maybe I should have it memorized. So thanks for the extra presentation prep, Jared.
Trying to keep you sharp.
The other activity that I talk about is like a song dictation. So basically, I play a couple lines of a song, and then when I pause it, the students are supposed to write down as much as they remember, ideally word for word, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'll play it again. They write down what they hear, and the goal is you do that throughout the entire song. So you should try to pick a song that's a bit slower paced. If you have really advanced students, you can do something faster paced, but for intermediate level or lower, I would choose a more slower paced song. And that's a really great listening activity. The other activity, the 12-bar blues, that's more of a writing, or you could even make it a speaking activity if you had the students say their lines to each other and create them that way. But yeah, so those are just two activities. I think I cover about 5 or 6 different activities. And I also talk about why you should use listening in the language classroom.
And you're going to like actively do demonstrations.
Exactly.
And these are adults?
These are all either teachers or professors in Mongolia. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you know about Mongolia? I'm going to be honest with you. I know nothing about Mongolia. I made a joke earlier about their barbecue because they're actually,
we have Mongolian
I guess now,
barbecue.
There used to be a place called Mongolian Barbecue in Michigan. I'm sure it's in other places too. And listen, I don't know much about Mongolia, but I'm going to assume Mongolian barbecue's food had little to do with what was actually happening in Mongolia.
You are correct. That is true. Like in Mongolian barbecue, so for our listeners who aren't in the States or even are in the States and have never been there, it's like a buffet style place where you get a bowl, you pack it up with all sorts of different ingredients, you take it to this big round, raw ingredients, take it to this big grill, and the grill masters grill it up, and they have these cool, like long, looks like swords kind of, and they grill it up. Now. And it's awesome. And I actually went to Mongolian barbecue when I was back in the States with my parents because that's one of our favorite places because you can get such a like random assortment of stuff. They have all these different sauces and seasonings and tasty food. But anyways, Mongolian food is nothing like that. Okay. So a lot of Mongolian food is primarily meat, but it's not going to be seafood like they have at Mongolian barbecue. And I think a lot of the meat they have is lamb, like mutton, maybe beef. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much poultry they have. And a very famous drink, from what I've heard, I think it's called like kulmis or something like that, and it is fermented horse milk.
Wow, is it alcoholic?
No, I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong.
Horse milk.
Yep. Yep. Because the Mongols have been at least the Mongols are, I believe, I forget the name of the tribe now, but they are one of the few remaining nomadic tribes out there. But the cool thing is, yeah?
I was going to say, I can give you some information on the cuisine.
Okay.
It's predominantly made up of dairy, meat, and animal fats. And the most common world dish is mutton, cooked mutton. In the city, steamed dumplings filled with meat, booze, are popular. The extreme continental climate of Mongolia has influenced traditional diet. Use of vegetables and spices are limited due to geographic proximity and deep historic ties with China and Russia. Mongolian cuisine is also influenced by Chinese and Russian food. There you go. Common foods include the booze that I mentioned, kortkog, and budug. Ooh, kind of gross looking. Did not like that.
There we go. But the cool thing is, I'll be in Mongolia for a week. I will be in Ulaanbaatar, which is the capital. And so the capital is really cool because you kind of get a little glimpse of all sorts of different parts of Mongolia. So you'll see some people who are parts of nomadic tribes coming into the city. You'll see businessmen. You'll see, from what I've heard, it's a really multicultural city. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. And I'm really excited. Really, really excited. Should be fun.
How does the nomadic life... See, I know I'm asking questions that you probably don't know the answer to, but how does the nomadic lifestyle work? Like, Mongolia is only so big.
Herds of... Mongolia's decent size. I think Mongolia's about the size of Alaska.
Oh, okay, so you could
And Alaska's pretty big.
You could nomad through Mongolia for your whole life.
Sure.
Do they leave Mongolia?
Well,
I know nothing about Mongolia.
I don't know. Well, Jared, we'll have to do a Mongolia 101 once I get back because I'm sure I'll learn a lot while I'm there.
Can I give you, just before you go, just some fun facts about Mongolia that I found? Because I was doing some research.
I'd love to hear it.
Figure this place out.
Yeah.
The endangered... Also, are you going to take pictures? Please take pictures.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I have my phone and I have 2 battery packs with me.
Perfect. What kind of plug do they use? Same as China?
So that's the weird thing. Is our hotel has 2 plug outlets. So the Chinese outlets have like a slit. I think they call them H outlets. It's like a slit and then 2 slanted, and they're all straight, right? In the US, we usually have 2 straight and then like a circly one. In Europe, they have 2 circles. So in Mongolia, normally they have the 2 circled ones, but our my boss, who's in yes, like Europe, but my boss sent us pictures, and apparently they have the ones that are like Chinese ones and ones that are like European ones, which is good because I obviously didn't bring any European plug adapters with me. So when I did my research and I saw that, I was like, shit, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to charge my phone or plug in my laptop. But thankfully, it should be okay. So give me some fun facts,
week,
Jared.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
And how many times are you giving your speech?
So I'm doing 2 different versions of it. I'm giving one speech where I'm focusing on the 4 skills. So speaking, listening, reading, writing. The other one, I'm doing one and I'm focusing more on speaking. Well, not really focusing more. I'm only focusing on speaking and listening.
Okay. All right. The endangered 2-humped Bactrian camel is native to Mongolia. The 2-humped Bactrian camel is indigenous to Mongolia. The annual 1,000 Camel Festival is run by local, non-governmental organizations working to protect and preserve the camel population, which has been steadily declining over the past 12 years. And so try to check out that festival if it's going on while you're there. Mongolians are always ready for guests. In a country of vast distances, communication can be difficult, but it's important to maintain a sense of community. People living in the Mongolian countryside will always have a bowl of warm, salty milk tea ready for visitors. I think that's
there we go.
I think that's a welcoming treat for people.
Right.
Warm, salty milk tea. I'd be like, oh, do you hate me?
You never know. It might be good.
It probably is. It probably is, and I'm sure that's very true. But my American ears hearing warm, salty
milk tea.
Tea. I don't understand that in connection to my head. I'm going to be honest with you. Ice cream is a favorite winter treat. In winter, you'll find street vendors selling ice cream on the street from paper boxes. There's no need for a freezer at negative 30 degrees Celsius.
Yep.
What's the temperature like there now? Excuse me.
Right now, so that was the difficult thing with packing, because the first couple days there, during the day it'll be in the 70s, but at night it gets down to the 40s. So I have
Is it because you're like your elevation's so high?
Yeah, you're pretty far north.
Okay.
You're pretty far north, and so the funny thing is that I didn't bring a winter coat because I figured I could find one here for a decent price, which I'm still going to be looking for.
Did you know you'd be going to Mongolia when you had this plan?
I wasn't sure yet, and I didn't think about how cold it would be, but I do have 2 super thick flannels.
Dude.
I have a winter hat. What?
On Friday, I don't know how the time difference works reading this, so I guess that's today for you. The high is 71, the low is 31.
Yep.
That's a big gap.
Huge gap. Huge gap.
Oh, dude. You are screwed. On Tuesday, it's 55 is the high and 25 is the low. Wednesday, 18 is the low and 41 is the high. And it's raining, snowing.
Yeah, it will be snowing. So I have 2 thick flannels. I have a really warm fleece hoodie.
You're going to wear all of those every day.
Probably. I have a winter hat and gloves coming with
2.
me. But see, here's the thing, Jared. So in China, a lot of goods, you can get a fairly good price for the most part, especially if they're made locally. However, I've heard it's even cheaper in Mongolia. So I might try to find a winter jacket while I'm in Mongolia. But the crazy thing about Mongolia is their currency. It's the Mongolian Turek. And so just to give you, I have a really handy dandy conversion app right here. And Jared, what do you think $100 is in Mongolian Turks? $100 US. How much Mongolian Turk do you think that is?
Well, with the way you're talking, it's a lot. Thinking onto my Tanzanian shillings days, I'm gonna say 10,000.
266,470 and 13 cents.
Wow.
Yep.
So what? That's like a conversion ratio of like 2,600 something.
Yep. So
Jeez.
I'm bringing
That's
because
tough
I have right because I have Chinese cash, Chinese yuan or RMB in cash. I'm going to be bringing 1,000 Chinese RMB that I'm planning on transferring at the airport, and that will give me 373,648. 641 Tugrik and 82 cents.
Now, I don't mean to sound naive or like a dumb American, but sorry, I said whoa a second ago because I'm looking at street views of of Ulaanbaatar, and it's just cool looking around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll have a lot to talk about when I come back, that's for sure. But I want to do one thing, Jared, before we go into the shout-outs, because I thought this might be fun. So I have some questions that I have gotten from my students, and I wanted to talk about them with you. So every Wednesday I do this thing here in Jinan called an English Corner, which is basically an hour-long conversation hour. And to wrap up our conversation hour, I always give the students an opportunity to write me questions anonymously. This is week 3. I still have let them do this. And there have been some interesting questions. And some of these I wanted your advice, Jared, because some of these I told the students, these are not quick answer questions. Let me answer these when we meet next time. So
let me consult my consigliere.
Number 1, Jared. Right. Exactly. So, Jared, I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, can you recommend some pop songs? Are there any tunes that you think, as an American, either pop, rock, whatever, that would be good for me to recommend to my students?
Like current stuff, I assume?
Probably, yeah.
Maybe like Justin Bieber. Oh, no, excuse me. That Ed Sheeran song. I'm in love with the shape of your body. Listen, dude, I know nothing about pop music. Or maybe some Justin Bieber stuff. Or is that too popular almost? Maybe
I don't know. They might know that stuff. I'll have to ask. I'm
that would
curious.
be interesting. They'd probably go crazy.
Beyonce would be good.
Something like that.
Yeah. All the single ladies.
Yes, that's a good one.
That is
That's
a good
one. Or you could even do something like Rihanna, just so you can get some, enjoyment out of it too. Just
Right.
if anything.
I like Beyonce as well, but yeah, okay, good. I'll move on. I have quite a few of these, so we'll try to do
you
these
said
quick.
two a second ago.
Well, I have a stack right here.
Right. Okay.
All right. So now I'm just curious, Jared, to get your view on this. And this is a very vague question, but just give me kind of a quick answer. I want to learn more about American education. What can you tell us about American education? And like I said, this one's kind of general and vague. I don't necessarily know what they want to know about American education, but what would be your quick kind of snippet of American education?
It's all very negative. Everything that's coming to my head is very negative right now.
Okay, that's all right. What are some of the negative things that come into your head?
I mean, I think it's not appreciated here.
Okay.
I think that it's very much seen as a means to an end more than like a opportunity for education. Like
I'd agree with that.
It's like high school is all about making sure you get into the right college. College is all about making sure you get the right job, which unfortunately doesn't always align with just getting the best grades. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I think it's just, and I think it's undervalued, and teachers are undervalued too. But I also think, what would be a good thing? I don't know. We have a lot of opportunities of like different things to learn in school, but they probably do too. I don't know.
Right. I will tell you this though, Jared. After only being in China, and I've taught for 4 weeks
sports. Now. Tell them how important sports are.
Oh, the sports. That's true. That's a big one.
Probably very different than a lot of other places.
And I would say the extracurriculars in general that we have in the States is not common. It wasn't common in the Czech Republic.
Tell them about some of the sports that we have. Like at my school, we had rowing.
Right.
We had,
there's all sorts of stuff.
We had a hockey team, track and field,
right.
Yeah,
football,
baseball.
Yeah. That's a great.
Lacrosse.
That's a great idea. That's
golf.
I could
we
even
had a golf team.
I could probably do an entire English corner just on American sports, and also talk about school spirit because I think that's a very American thing as well.
Talk about something like a Spirit Week, for example, where you could like dress up as different things.
That's a lot of fun.
All right, sorry, that's a good one. I think we got
that. Was really
one.
Good though. That was a great answer though, Jared. Thank you because
we had to work on that one a little bit, but that was a good one.
We did. Okay. This was an interesting one. And I think you could probably guess my answer, Jared, but I wanted to hear your answer for this one. If you can choose a time to go back throughout American history, what time period would you go back?
See, as a black person, I always love this question because it's like, well, first of all, anything before, like, it's only getting better for black people to live in this world.
Right.
So, like, what? I'm going to go back to the 1960s and have to use a different bathroom or something? I'll pass.
That reminds me of that Chappelle Show skit where they go back in time and they shoot one of the slave owners. It's hilarious.
I don't remember. I never really got into Chappelle's Show as much as I should have. Anyway, what time would you personally go back to? Because that would be my answer.
I would say 60s and 70s because of the music.
That's what I figured. Yeah. That's what I figured.
60s and 70s. That's why I figured when you were laughing, I was like, yep, he knows for sure.
No, I was laughing because I always laugh when people ask me that because it's like, I'm black. It's like, it's all bad before yesterday. Like, it's only getting better, and I'm not even convinced about that, to be honest with you.
Right. This is a really good one as well. Why is Donald Trump so silly, but the Americans still picked him? What are your 2 cents, Jared?
First of all, silly is such an interesting word to use for...
Right. This was written by a freshman student, so I'm sure they're...
He's silly, all right.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I would say our silly president was elected by Americans, and so I think it's maybe he's so silly because it's a representation of his voter base, which also happens to be, half of the country.
Silly. Yeah.
Yeah. Half of the country tends to be quite
Silly. Right. I like that. That's a good way to put it.
You're silly.
You know that would piss them off, too, if you said it like that.
Yeah, someone's
You
calling
know
me the
it
N-word.
would totally get under their skins. Right.
So silly. Those
But
silly
I had to
words.
explain the difference between the popular vote and electoral college, which for a lot of them, like I could tell by the
complicated.
look in their faces that they'd never
Most
heard that.
Americans don't get it.
Right. So this one made me laugh when I was reading this, and I had such a stack of papers of questions yesterday. I couldn't get to all these. So a lot of these I'll be answering when we meet next. So this is why I wanted to consult you. First of all, this was handed in to my student. Look at this artwork, dude.
Wow, that's quite the little doodle.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's on the back.
That's a
of it.
great
But
like
here we go.
profile of a person's head, just drawn
Right,
with a
it's-
pencil.
Yeah, it looks really good.
The
She's
neck
super
is
talented.
very good too. Even just wow.
All the detail. I'll hold it up here. Much better looking than my face, that's for sure. Anyways, this one made me laugh. How do you usually keep your beard clean? And then they drew a little picture of a bearded dude right there. So I thought that was great. How do you usually keep your beard clean? Would you have food like soup stuck in it when you have meals?
That's a good question.
It made me laugh. It is a good question. It's a very
My
good
beard's
question.
nowhere close to as full as yours, and I sometimes have that problem too.
The key here, Jared, is really the food doesn't get stuck in your beard unless you're eating really quick and you drop food on your face. But the key for me, and this happens all the time with my dad, because I trim my mustache pretty short on the top so food doesn't get in it. My dad usually leaves his stash a little bit longer than I do, so he always has cheese or soup in his stash. I tell him to get it off, and he gets it off. But that's the key for me.
So you don't have to be worried
is
about the beard. It's mostly the mustache.
it's the stash, especially
Right.
like the sides right here.
Gotcha.
The sides of the stash can get dirty. And how do I keep my beard clean? Just your typical shampoo, conditioner. Some people go all
use
out and get
both?
like all these fancy beard oils. I mean, I use like a 2-in-1 shampoo.
Okay, so you're not shampooing,
Yeah.
rinsing it out, then putting conditioner in for 5 minutes after that.
But in the States, what I would do usually is in the summer when it was hot and I would sweat quite a bit, I would condition it twice a week.
Okay.
Keeps it nice and soft. Okay, so this one also, Jared, I wanted to hear your answer because I don't actually know this answer for you. I could guess a few of these, but how many countries have you been to, Jared?
How many countries have I been to? I had to do like a quick math though, because I've been
Right.
to I've been to say most of Western Europe essentially. So how many
Right.
countries would that be? From like England down, I've been to England, Ireland, Germany,
gotta be at
obviously,
least 10,
France,
15
Netherlands,
countries.
Spain, Portugal,
Belgium.
Italy, Belgium,
Austria.
Luxembourg, not Denmark, Austria. Have
you been to Switzerland?
Yes, a couple times. Lausanne.
Okay.
I've been
Czech
to,
Republic.
I've been to Czech Republic. I've been to Hungary. I've been to. I think that.
So
I'm sure I'm missing something.
for time's sake, we'll say more than 10.
Okay, more than 10. Then I've also been to obviously U.S. and Canada, so 12. I've been to Morocco. I've been to Tanzania. I've been to South Africa. I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Oh, and here's another interesting one for you, Jared. What person do you want to be?
I want to be me, baby. No, I don't know. What
There we
person
go.
do I
That's a
wanna
good
be?
answer.
I don't want to be someone else. But if I could like aspire to be like someone, it might be that billionaire we've mentioned a couple times. He
There we
seems
go.
pretty cool.
Sure.
He's doing all right for himself and paying off debt for thousands of people. That's pretty cool.
Right. That is awesome. Absolutely. Good. All right. And my last one I'm not going to ask you this, but I'm going to answer this. Well, actually, no, I will ask you this because you're involved with this. What do you think of the internet blocking in China, Jared?
I don't know what you're talking about. No. It's interesting because you and I, first of all, you've only been using your phone so far as a hotspot. You still don't have Wi-Fi because you still don't have a bank
Not yet.
account. But it's interesting because it's so sporadic. Like it's anywhere from like right now, the signal, like the video quality is not that great, but our talking is perfectly fine.
Right.
Sometimes both qualities are great and sometimes both qualities are terrible. Sometimes it's like this in the middle. It's crazy how sporadic it is. Like you never know what to expect. And
Right.
then like I can't obviously speak to what it's like to not have like trying to have to either quote unquote work around or not have access to certain websites. I obviously can't speak to that.
Right. Right. But you are
But
involved with at least the inconsistency right now. I'm
Yes.
hoping once I have a router and have high-speed
And
Wi-Fi,
speaking of which,
should
we
be
haven't
good.
talked about this, but that's part of the reason why we don't do travel tips, by the way, anymore. At least not that was not a priority right now because Chad usually edits those, and it already takes a super long time to even just get like your audio to me, which is a much smaller situation than
Exactly.
a full video. So it's just too much of a hassle.
Right. Right. And the other thing is too, now I could work around this, but I as a teacher in the Czech Republic and in the States, I would primarily use Google Drive, which meant none of my materials were on my hard drive. So it saved up a lot of space for video editing and stuff like that. Now, because I can't really access Google Drive, I have
You have
completely
to have
stopped
all
using
your files
it.
on your computer, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. So it's changed me a lot as like a user of like my own computer, the internet. And the funny thing is Bing does work in China. Bing is, in my opinion, much clunkier than Google. Probably just because I've used Google more.
That's why it works.
Well, you can find more than you would think. Jared loves to rag on Bing, but the thing about Bing, which is interesting, is there's a China Bing. There's like two tabs, and there's like a China Bing and an international Bing. And if you click on the international Bing, the majority of the stuff still works, but some of it doesn't. So I'll click on something like I wanted to play a video of a song. I wanted to do "Hello Goodbye" by the Beatles, and I found all these links to videos on Bing. And half of them didn't work.
Right.
So so here's my quick take. We could even do a whole episode on what's available and what isn't available on the internet in China, because that might be interesting to talk about. But the thing, my quick take on this is, it can be really frustrating as a Westerner being here in China because there are so many friends and family members that it's difficult to stay in touch with. Jared and I were lucky. We both are bougie and we have iPhones, and so I can iMessage Jared on my Chinese phone or on my laptop, so that is totally fine. Most of my family members have iPhones, so I can still contact them. But my really good buddy Shane from back home has an Android. So I have to.
Really
I've been
your friend. You got to really think about that.
So what I've had to do.
Would a friend of yours actually buy something like that?
That's true. That's true. So with Shane, what we have to do is we have to email each other, and it feels kind of weird
It's
emailing
old school.
a friend. Yeah. But the most frustrating part about all the things that are blocked, basically, it's any Western social media is blocked here. So no YouTube, no Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter, none of that
That might be
stuff.
kind of freeing, right?
In a way, it's nice, but it's not nice because I still get the notifications on my phone, and I can't respond to them.
That's rough.
So I got a message from my buddy Shane the other day.
You just got to delete the
Delete
apps
them
from your phone for now.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that's just
maybe.
torture to
is.
see it and just be like, okay, well, now I can't do anything about this. And
It
I think
is,
it might
and-
be even more freeing since you can't do anything about it anyway. Just delete the app from your phone.
That's a good idea. I might have to do that. But the funny thing is that Shane, my good buddy Shane, wrote me a couple days ago, and he wrote me on Facebook Messenger, and he just sent me a message. Guess what? So I was waiting for days, and I was like,
what?
I was like, what? And the worst part
Or
is
what you could do
because
is at least turn off notifications. You can't turn off notifications. You don't have to delete the app.
That's-
just go to your
that's a better
notifications
idea.
and just
I'm
have it
gonna
not
do
be
that.
the banners or whatever.
Right. I'm going to do that. But the thing is too is that so all these social media apps are blocked, right? But because right now I'm only using a hotspot, there are even times when I create an entirely different email account to come here because I use Gmail, and you can't access Gmail at all here in China. So I had to create a whole new email account, and with that email account, occasionally it's an Outlook account, and it takes forever to load. So anything Microsoft is okay in China, but anything Google will not work.
Why did you choose Outlook? You have a Mac.
Because they suggested use Outlook.
Okay.
What would you use on a Mac?
AOL. Old school. Get a Yahoo account. Does Yahoo
Actually,
work?
Yahoo works here. Yahoo
My
does
parents
work here.
still use Yahoo accounts. And I'm like,
That was
what
my
is-
first email account ever, was a Yahoo account.
It
But
was
anyways,
probably my parents too. They're still sticking with it. I'm
Right.
like, how is that? This is all spam at this point. Anyway,
hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But
do you have any
so
more
anyways,
questions?
No, but I
Okay.
think we should do an episode on internet blocking in China, the Great
Yeah.
Firewall of China.
And please don't hesitate to bring questions every now and again. Those are fun.
I will. Yeah, I will. I mean, as long as they're interesting and fun, I will. So let's. I
Still
think
getting
it's
asked
time
about
though
being
to.
single or not?
No, but I was asked. I always love these generalization questions because it's like, the answer is going to be no. Like, why are you writing this? Like, the answer is no. But one of my students wrote, do all American boys have handsome blue eyes like you? And then a little like smiley face next to the question. So then I actually got
hilarious.
into
Yes, every
the
single
idea
one.
of yes, exactly. Even the Asian Americans, the African Americans, Hispanics,
Doesn't matter.
Latino, they all have blue eyes. That's right. It's an American thing. No, but
Yeah,
I
good
did
question.
explain to them the idea of recessive and dominant traits. Because
Yeah.
blue eyes are a recessive trait, so they are, in theory, less common than brown eyes. But anyways, I'm not a scientist, so we
Or
won't
green
go into
eyes
that. But,
too.
right. But Jared, I think you know what time it is. I think it's time
Spread a little
to
love.
That's
spread
right.
a little love. Hello,
Ooh,
I'm
double
sorry.
spread the love. Let's do it. So my first one goes out to the Swedes, who are now opting for trains over flights amid climate crisis concerns. And so what's interesting, Jared, is that basically now there are about 37% of residents are now choosing to travel by train instead of by air, which was 26% last fall. So it's gone up 11%, which is great. And now there's this big social media trend going on. They're using the hashtag flygskam, which means flight shame in Swedish,
Wow.
to capture the feeling of being embarrassed or ashamed to travel by plane because of flying, the environmental impact of flying. Then they have another hashtag. I'm going to try to say this here. Jag stannar på marken, which translates to stay on the ground. So they've been using these hashtags. And so here's just an interesting little fun fact for you, Jared. A single flight between Sweden's two biggest cities, Stockholm and Gothenburg, or probably Gothenburg is how they say it, generates as much CO2 as 40,000 train trips.
Whoa.
One flight, 40,000 train trips.
I mean, I knew that they were very polluting machines, but that's intense.
Right.
It's how does this happen? How does this culture happen where people like join in together? Because I feel like if this was the U.S., there'd be people that would there'd be people that would be like so against it that they'd be like, I don't know, they'd like maybe start rolling coal more, which is where you modify your diesel truck to spit out giant plumes of black smoke. Like, I
Right.
don't know, there'd be like for example, there's like this sort of trend in the electric car world called icing internal combustion engine. That's what you call like a normal car.
Okay.
Like people in big pickup trucks or SUVs will like park in like charging spots and like, block them from electric cars, and they call it icing. And it's just like, of course there's got to be these people. Like,
Right.
that's why I feel like something like this whole like flight shame wouldn't work here. I don't know. People would be like, oh, hey, I don't know. I
feel
just
like
bought
people
this
in the
plane.
States right now are not environmentally conscious like a lot of Europeans are. So I think that's why, but I think that's going to change, Jared. Mark my words, in the next 10 to 15, and it has to. It has to change. We are running out of time. Not to scare you, Jared, and all of our listeners, but we need to make some serious changes. Which leads me to my next shout out, which goes out to the UK because they are implementing climate change teachers. So there are now teachers in the UK who are getting accredited to teach about climate change and what to do about it. So in
this
Oxford,
explains it. This answers the question I just asked. They actually teach people.
it does, doesn't it? Right. And so there has been a petition, I believe in I'm not sure if it was in Oxford or in the UK in general, but there have been 82,000 people who have signed the petition wanting lessons about climate change. So even though climate change is taught in science and geography lessons in the UK, a lot of critics say that is not enough. But rather than waiting for the UK government to integrate the subject into the curriculum further, teachers are taking matters into their own hands by enrolling in the United Nations Climate Change Teacher Academy. The new online course provides free training for primary and secondary school teachers, arming them with knowledge. I love that term, arming them with knowledge. They need to introduce, that's right, to introduce climate change into other parts of the curriculum. And they quote, Melanie Harwood, whose company Harwood Education is helping deliver the training program, said, "We don't have time to waste. We can't wait for governments to pull their fingers out. We need to get on with it. Young children are more vulnerable to climate change-related disasters and associated health risks than any other social group. We need to give them the tools to understand the effects of a changing climate so that they can take well-informed and effective action in the future." So shout out to all of the teachers in the UK
You betcha.
who are taking a proactive effort to teach and prepare kids for the future, which will look very different than now in terms of the climate. So I think that's great.
Yeah. You know what? It's also great. Them untranslatables.
That's right. You better believe it, Jared.
You know, sometimes
Get
I
us
feel
started,
like-
Jared.
I'll get us started. Sometimes I feel like when I'm falling asleep, I hear that in my head. That untranslatable
It's probably
clock.
from you editing the podcast all the time.
My first one is Malay, which is, I believe, spoken in Malaysia, would be my guess. And
Would be my guess as well.
Kayu Bangkok Masakan Lurus Bayanganya. And it means, how can the shade of a crooked wood... okay, well, there's a... let me do a... how can the shade of a crooked wood look straight?
Is that like things are not what they seem?
No.
Is it? I got a couple guesses for this one. Is this?
We have a... let me first give you... go ahead. Sorry. Give me your guesses first.
Let me see here. Is this like even the nicest looking people can stab you in the back?
No, but you're getting closer.
Okay.
Kind of.
Don't judge a book. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Somewhere in between those two things you just said.
Don't be a nice person and write a book.
There you go.
Give me a hint, Jared.
So we have a very popular. What do you call it? It's not like what is Little Red Riding Hood? What would you call that? Nursery rhyme?
A fairy tale.
Okay, we have a fairy tale. I'd say more of a nursery rhyme than or fairy tale that is also commonly used as an untranslatable when someone doesn't believe you.
Oh, you're telling fairy tales.
No, I'm talking about a specific one. I'm thinking about one called The Boy Who Cried Wolf, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's,
Interesting.
a liar is not believed even when he's telling the truth.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
And that's what The Boy Who Cried Wolf is about, right? He keeps lying that there's a wolf to get people's attention.
And then
And then there's actually a wolf
there
and
is
no
a
one
wolf.
wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would say that is probably more of a nursery rhyme than a fairy tale.
Right, because it's not
I could
fake.
be wrong.
Like, it's not made up character.
Right.
I mean, it is made up characters,
Right.
but it's not like made up
Right.
scenarios. Like, it could happen.
Right. So because we are talking about China today, even though we spent most of the starting of the pod about Mongolia, which is okay. I have two Chinese phrases. I'll have hopefully some Mongolian phrases when I come back, though. So stay tuned for those. Mongolian is a super interesting language. But anyways, I have two Chinese ones for you today, Jared. My first one is bu zuo bu zi, which is not do, not die.
Like, give it your all.
Nope.
Don't quit. Don't stop till you get enough.
Nope.
It's not... Can you give me the English again?
Not do, not die.
It's like you're not afraid of anything. All
This
right.
is more. So think about the opposite, Jared. So if you not do, you not die. But if you gonna say do here, if you do, you do die.
Oh, so like if like you can't get hurt if you avoid a situation, essentially.
Yeah,
Like you
basically
stay out
don't
of
do
trouble.
stupid things. Exactly, don't do stupid things, and bad things won't happen to you.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
I would too.
My next one is Lithuanian, and it goes Aishkintis Santikrius. Now I'm definitely sure 100% that I said that perfectly. So that is
What does that mean?
clarifications of relationships. I like this one a lot.
Is this like friends with benefits?
No,
No.
it's not.
Is this? Can you give me a clue?
Yeah. So, say you and I are having a podcast-related argument, and you're like, "Stop yelling!" Well, I'm gonna give it away, but you're like, "Stop yelling at me," and I'm like, "I'm not yelling. We're just having a clarification of relationships. That's all."
So to argue.
Yeah, yeah. It's just another word
Okay.
of, like to fight.
Okay.
I love that.
I like
love
that one. That's a good one.
We're just clarifying where we stand
That's right.
with
That's
one
right.
another right now.
Oh, that's great. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, my last one for you
I might
today
have
is
to use
Chinese.
that one if that's a good one for
Right.
like a relationship. Listen,
Oh, for
I'm
sure.
very happy in my relationship though.
So here we go. It is Yibu Yige Zhao Yin.
Are they
Which
supposed
means
to have those long pauses in between each word?
probably not. But I'm
Okay.
not. Believe it or not, Jared, I'm not fluent in Mandarin yet. I need to actually find a tutor. I need to find a tutor. But this means one step, one footprint.
Like every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It's sort of like
Can
one
you-
foot. It's like you're responsible for your actions, or like what goes around.
You were getting
comes
closer
around,
with the
or-
1 foot. You were getting closer with that 1 foot.
Is just keep going, like just keep moving on. It's like you got this. Carry on.
Kind of. It's more like it's like the 1 foot in front of the other. Like every step, you need to like take small steps in order to get where you need to go.
get to your destination,
Yeah.
both literally
Your
and
goal.
figuratively.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Speaking of which, you're taking steps on your goal to being the greatest teacher of English and teaching English out there, of T-Saw and T-Sol and Tiffle. I
Tuffle,
made up
but
some
yeah.
of those. Okay.
Yeah. I try.
And that journey's taking you to China, and you've been there for a month. Does it feel like a month?
It doesn't. It really
No,
doesn't.
you just saying that. I was kind of I know that felt like a leading question.
You were hoping that I would be like, yes.
This is exhausting, Jared. I
it's
can't
been-
do it. Coming home.
There have definitely been some moments where, like I think I've mentioned on the podcast before, when I signed my contract, I figured China would be a test of my patience because there's a few reasons. Number one, the language barrier here is much bigger than any other place I went. I thought the Czech Republic was difficult. Oh man, the Czech Republic was easy compared to here. Because at least in the Czech Republic, the majority of people could speak a little English or some German. Whereas I come here, younger people, I would say people probably in their 30s or younger, speak some English. They might be really shy about it, but they can. But anybody over 35 or 40 here, unless they are an English teacher, and even, I hate to say this, but I've met some English teachers here in China that their spoken English, their proficiency isn't great. I'm sure their reading and writing is great, and I'm sure they're wonderful teachers, but they're not the best English speakers.
And another aspect of the language barrier is not just the fact that Chinese is a more difficult language to understand and learn how to speak, but there's also the alphabet aspect of
Right.
it too. That at least you had a
characters.
easier ability to match up words and check, even if you didn't know what the word was. You'd be like, well, I've seen that
Right.
word before. It's a little bit harder to see like a collection of characters and be like, oh, right, that means
Right.
this.
Right. And there's only one character right now that I see and I know, and that is it's Ren, and Ren means like people or person.
I thought you
And
knew
it's an
like
easy
the
character.
bathroom symbols too.
I have a picture of the men's bathroom symbol on my phone actually, just to double check. But usually they have like the little figure, so it's easy to
okay.
tell. But the language barrier has definitely been. I mean, I figured it would be difficult, but it's one thing thinking about it before you get here, and another thing when you're here.
Yeah,
it's
Is
a
it
lot
just
different.
like exhausting?
It's not exhausting. I just have to kind of mentally prepare myself whenever I leave my apartment because I'm like, all right, like here we go.
Yeah.
And when I go grocery shopping, like I think it really hit me, and I've probably mentioned this on the podcast before. It really hit me that I was here the first night I went to the grocery store. One, because I immediately, first of all, I walked in the wrong side of the grocery store because it's in a mall and there's like two entrances. So that was my first mistake is I walk over and I'm like, where the hell do I even go in here? And I was like, well, I'm just going to walk in between these two aisles. And I did. And here it's also funny though too, because as a Westerner, especially a bearded, blue-eyed Westerner, you get stares all the time because people aren't used to seeing you around.
But
And
people don't
I am
help you.
always... people do want to help you, I would say. People here have been really friendly and really helpful when I've needed stuff.
Like if you look clearly lost.
Oh yeah, people will. I think I haven't looked clearly lost just yet because I haven't
Okay.
gotten lost. But a lot of that's because I have a phone that's connected to internet. Like I think
Right.
getting lost nowadays, for me, the reality is if my phone dies and I'm like in a completely different part of town or something, then I could get lost. But I do know my way around this area of my town because I don't have a car, so I've been walking everywhere.
Right.
So
Now
that's
you
been
mentioned
helpful.
getting got, I believe.
Yes. So I got when I was at the grocery store a couple
Explain
weeks
what
ago. I told
getting
you
got
about this.
means, by the way.
Getting
Just
got
for
means
the
like
people that aren't us.
either you get like scammed or you get kind of taken advantage of or something like this. Now, I think some of that was also my fault because I wasn't firm enough. And I was in the produce section of the grocery store walking around and looking at stuff. And there's so many different like fruits that I've never seen before. Vegetables, I've seen them all before. But fruits, there's a couple of them that I hadn't seen before. And there are these little fruits. They're a little bit bigger than like a large cherry. And they're kind of golden and brown. And I'm walking around, and this woman there grabs one and says, try. In English, she says, try. Very good. And she like goes like this, like makes like a biting motion. And so she hands it to me. I bite into it. It was pretty good. So she says, you like? And so I said, sure. And so she just starts putting all these in this bag. And I told her stop a couple times and she didn't stop.
But she works at a grocery store. She's not getting paid on commission, is she?
I don't think so, but still.
Is there
I don't
any
know.
incentive for her to like force these on you?
Probably not. I don't know. But the thing is, I just wasn't firm enough. So maybe I didn't
Right,
get got. I
right.
just wasn't firm enough.
But I think that in itself is a big adjustment because sometimes being firm feels like you're being an asshole, you know?
Right. And I'm
And
not
it's like
great at
how
that.
do you say no without feeling like an asshole?
Right. And then a few other times when I've been waiting in line at places, I have learned now, after being 1 month into China, when you're in line, you stand right behind the person in front of you and you get right up to the front of the counter. There was a couple times when I was in the train station waiting to get my tickets because you can do they have little machines that will print them out, but they're all in Chinese. They don't even, I looked to see if there was a language option. I didn't see one. So I have to go up to the counter, show them my passport, show them there's a booking number, and then they print my tickets off. I was waiting in line, and this old lady cut in front of me, and I was like, you know what? She seems like she's in a hurry. I'll just let her go. Then I was standing there, and this other guy, this was kind of funny. He cut in front of me, and then he looked at me, and he realized I was in line. He actually went behind me. So that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting that, because when he cut in front of me, I was just like, all right, you know what? It is what it is. It's not a huge deal. But But yeah, like lines here are not really a thing like they are in the States. Like when you go to,
Oh, never mind. I was gonna say when people come in front of me and I don't say anything about it, like I think about it for like weeks.
Oh, really? I don't really care. But yeah, so that was really interesting. Like lines are not a thing. I will say that train stations, last weekend I traveled alone for the first time. And the cool thing about going anywhere new, especially somewhere like China, is you get kind of a big adrenaline rush whenever you do very basic things because it's always kind of challenging. And so I got to the train station super early because still I'm trying to learn. I don't know how long it takes to get from my apartment to the train station. Plus, in China, there can always be traffic jams and backups. So it's always better here in China to plan early than like to get there. Like I'll get there here and I'll just have enough time. And Jared knows me as a traveler. He's traveled with me before. I like to get to places early because I don't want to be inconvenienced by getting there late.
That's for
in
sure.
China, that can definitely happen. Yeah, Jared knows very well. So I got to the train station pretty early, and so you go through like a security line. And what's really cool though is they have these little readers. So you slide your ticket in, and it like pops it up, and then the gates open, and you can go through. And so that was fine. It had no security issues. And then you take the elevator up. And so the way that the layout of most train stations in China is that you go upstairs, and that's where like the gates are, right? And so you have, and all the trains here are like G5, G110, G whatever. I don't know why it's G, why they chose that letter, but that's what it is. And so you go up here, and then you look and you find your train, and then there's a bunch of restaurants within that area. So once you get past security, there's like a bunch of fast food places in terms of like Western fast food. So Burger King, KFC, McDonald's. Then there's some Chinese fast food places.
Always very bustling.
When I went kind of earlier in the morning, and it was on a Thursday, so it wasn't too busy. But I would imagine your high peak times on the weekends probably get pretty crazy. I would imagine. I'll be able to let you know when I come back from Mongolia because it will be a national holiday here in China. And I've heard the national holidays are crazy in terms of traveling.
Do you know what the holiday is?
I believe it's called Golden Week. It's usually the first week in October. And this one they're celebrating, I believe is it 70 years? I think it's 70 years of after the cultural, I don't remember if it's a cultural revolution or what the correct terminology is, but so they're having all sorts of big parades and stuff here in China. But and so we'll have a week off of school, which is nice because it coincides perfectly with my trip to Mongolia. So I don't have to make up a week of teaching over the weekends, which is nice. What else do you got for me though, Jared? What other questions do you have?
What other questions do I have? How's the teaching been going? Like, has that been a tough adjustment? Has it been fun, or have you been not liking the more lecture-y style?
It's been a lot of fun. I actually do enjoy the lecture style, but I think I have kind of a 50-50 approach. I have 50% lecture, 50% of the class is like students doing discussions, doing different activities and stuff like that.
And that's new to most of them, right?
It's new to, I think, all of them. Yeah.
Are they opening up a little bit? Now that it's been a little bit.
Yes and no. So when I talk to them individually, like when I have them do group work, I walk around and kind of ask them questions and talk to them. They're not shy at all. But the moment I say, all right, let's discuss together as a class, it's crickets. And it's like pulling teeth getting them to answer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to either go out and buy note cards or popsicle sticks or something and write the names of my students and just have them in front of me and grab one.
That's old school.
It's old school, but I think that's what I'm going to have to do. And the funny thing was I talked to a student that was a senior. I teach juniors right now. I talked to a student that was a senior, and he told me, he said, look, they know the answer. They're just shy, and they won't answer unless you call on them. And so I was like, all right, so I'll have to just call on them. And for me in the Czech Republic, that was never really an issue. People always contributed. They wanted to talk. They wanted to practice their English. I think the thing is that one, in Chinese culture, you have this idea of face, and face basically means like You don't want to do anything that's embarrassing or wrong. So in class, you don't want to say a wrong answer, right? If you say a wrong answer, you lose face, is what they say.
Well, that's interesting because we have an untranslatable in the U.S. called save face. You're trying to save face, which essentially means you're trying to keep your reputation or whatever.
Right. Right, and that's the same here. Same here, yeah.
It's crazy,
but
this
otherwise,
world we live in, everyone.
that is true. But the nice thing about my teaching is I think the students do really appreciate it. I think they do realize the effort I put into the lesson planning and the classes. Actually, I had my students do a 10-question survey because we are on week 4. I wanted to see what their thoughts are on the teaching. The funny thing, though, Jared, is some of the students said, well, the material itself is boring, so there's not much that I can do as a teacher.
Fault. He's too cute. I can't concentrate. Was that some of them? Was that what you're about to say?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't. But some of the funnier ones were half of the responses were I spoke too slowly. The other half of the responses were I spoke too quickly. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So not really sure what to do with that just yet. So we'll see. But it's been fun. It's been good. I feel like I'm in the middle. I feel like it should be fine. And for the students
if it's 50-50,
who say,
I guess you are in the middle.
But the funny thing is,
you're perfect.
That's true. But the funny thing is, I think the students who say I speak too slowly, I think they think that my English class is an opportunity for them to improve their listening. But here's the thing. I'm here to teach them content, not the skill of listening. If I was their speaking and listening teacher, it'd be a little different.
Yeah, they're challenge my speaking and listening skills. They're well, that's not what we're here for.
That is definitely not what I'm there for. I will say it has been difficult figuring out how to teach to such large groups because one class of mine has 46 students, another class has 64 students, and I think the other class has about 42 or 44 students. So that's a lot of students.
So you kind of have to keep track, especially since you have to sort of struggle to get them to speak sometimes. You have to keep track of who's speaking in one class because that, you can't get every single person to speak in one class, I assume.
Right.
So you got to be all right, this person spoke a lot last time, so let me try to remember to try to get some other people or whatever.
Well, so what I've been doing in terms of my participation is I have now been giving them some task that they'll need to turn into me. But it's a task they do in class. And then we have a group on WeChat, which is a very popular app here in China. I don't think you could survive in China without it, to be honest with you. And so I have them write a little summary, and that's how I grade their participation now. I have some type of assessment because
they send it to you through WeChat.
They do, and so
in a message, there's not
like a text message. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, wow.
It's completely different than what I would do in the States, but it's a different context, and the students all use WeChat and they like it. But the main thing is I realized early on after the first week, I was I can't grade them on participation based on speaking because there's just too many of them.
Right.
It wouldn't
that's
work.
Not fair.
It just wouldn't work. Right. So I've tried to make changes and adjustments. What else do you want to know, Jared? Because I do have some observations, but I want to answer your questions before I get to my observations.
I remember you mentioning the filter mask that you have to wear. What's been up with that? Did you wear it in Beijing, for example?
Hold up, let me grab it. You fill them in about the. So the reason why you have a mask is because of the bad air pollution.
Just go get it.
And here in Jinan, it's also pretty bad.
Chad mentioned that he got an air mask. I used to just think it was one of those sort of doctor's masks, but turns out that it's actually more it has a built-in filter. It's not just what your dentist wears when she's drilling your teeth.
Right. So I have this. It's I think it's made out of nylon.
Well, you got a black one too. That's kind of cool.
I got a black one. Yep.
It's very slimming for your face.
I wanted to get a cool color one. That's right. That's right. So it's this mask, and it has these replaceable filters. For our viewers on YouTube, you can see this, but I'll try to describe it for our listeners. So it's this black mask that has a little clip on the top that adjusts for your nose because you want it to fit snug around your nose. And I got one, so it has ear straps, but I wanted one that also has a Velcro strap on the back, because when I tighten the Velcro strap, the ear straps don't really pull my ears down, because it will pull your ears down a little bit. But the funny thing is when I wear this, I feel like I am the character from Mortal Kombat. Sub-Zero.
As soon as you put that on, that's the first thing I thought of.
Right. And the funny thing is that, one, here, so I have an app, and for any of our listeners out here planning on traveling to China, one, I would say do it because it's a super amazing country. But there are a few apps you need to download, and one that's great, it's called Air Matters. And actually, Jared, you can get... I found out they even have the app for places in the States. So I can look and tell you, not right now, but I could tell you if I typed in Ferndale, I could tell you what the air quality is like in Ferndale. So how much pollen, other stuff like that. So I get a notification from that app every morning, and that's when I decide, okay, do I wear the mask or not? And this mask I bought this one specifically because I can unscrew these little thingies on the front and replace the filters. But so far I've had to wear the mask. Right. I figure that would be more environmentally friendly. And so you want to get either an N95 or an N99 mask. If you're a listener in the States, you can go on Amazon and easily find these. I did. Jared knows me too well. Plus the N95s were mostly 3M masks that looked kind of like a surgical or a dental mask. And I just wanted a cool black one like this. I thought it'd be kind of cool.
That does look cool.
I've had to wear this
mask.
That's
more important than anything.
That's right. Not your health, but how cool it looks. So I've had to wear this
from
mask.
Mortal Kombat.
That's right. That's right. Need to start wearing a headscarf and a blue shirt, and I'll be good to go. But so this one cost me, I think, like $20 or something like that, and then I got 12 replaceable filters for $12, and it came with 6 replaceable filters. Now, right now, the air quality isn't too bad, but in the winter is when it gets really bad because they burn a lot of coal for their heating. But I've had to wear this so far. I've worn it twice in Beijing and 3 times here in Jinan. So 5 times so far, and I've been here a month. That will change come winter, though. That's for sure.
It gets worse in the winter.
Yeah. And I'm pretty soon, once I have my online bank account set up, I am going to order air purifiers for my apartment, which is basically like a fan with this like filtration thingy that attaches to the fan that will filter your air.
Have you by the way, I downloaded Air Matters and I got to close it because I'm going to get addicted to this just playing around with it.
It's awesome. Yeah,
it's
cool.
Do you have to, do you can you feel a difference? Like sometimes do you feel I don't know, can you notice the air quality thing?
I could the first day in Beijing because the air quality was really bad. It was actually, I looked on this Air Qualities the Air Matters app. It also, you can look back like last month and it shows you like a graph of which days were the worst. And the day I landed was one of the worst days in Beijing that they've had in a long time. So
and you
when
can
I landed,
see it.
You can. There are days when you look out and you can tell. You don't even need the app. And so in Beijing, the day I landed, because I had my mask, I didn't have it in my carry-on. I should have had it in my carry-on. I didn't use it when we were walking around, and I definitely felt a scratch in my throat and got a little bit congested. So you can feel it for sure.
Yikes!
Yeah,
that's scary.
Yeah, and the other thing here, too, is you have to be very careful with the tap water because there could be bacteria in it or there could be lead or arsenic or other heavy metals in the water. So the tap water here is not drinkable. Nope, haven't drank tap water once. I brushed my teeth. I bought one of these bigger Nongfu Spring with a little squirty top.
The squirty top's good because when I was in Tanzania, I just had like a normal, water bottle lid, and a lot of water gets wasted just pouring it on top to on top.
You need
of
the squirty top.
Something.
I learned that quick. Yeah.
And you can actually get some pressure behind it to move,
rinse it.
Yeah,
exactly. But the funny thing is now I haven't. So when I first got here, I was buying bottled water. Now I have an 18-liter jug, like one of those big ones you see at like an office, like the water cooler at the office, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I have a big jug. I paid 30 RMB for it, which is roughly, I think, $5 for 18 liters of water.
That's pretty
So
great. That can last you for a bit.
That should last me. I've heard from other English language fellows here in China that usually lasts them about a month. So 30 kwai a month, so $5 a month for water is not too bad.
You get to carry that home.
No. The guy delivers it to my door.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's the great thing about China, though, Jared, is it's very convenient, especially once you get your bank account and all your online apps set up. It's super convenient. You can have everything delivered right to your door. Food, groceries. I mean, yeah, you can get that in the States, too, with like stuff on Amazon. But yeah, here you can get groceries. I mean, if you can think of it in China.
There? Like people, you can get all that stuff delivered here, too, but it's not like the norm.
Right.
To get groceries delivered, for example.
Right. Here, it's totally fine. Yeah, if you want. Like, I have a friend here who's vegan, and she got a bunch of vegan stuff delivered right to her door. So, yeah. So, I'm excited for that. I have a list of stuff that I want to buy once I get all that stuff set up. You want to know what some of those things are, Jared?
Sure. Yes, please.
So, number one, I was a fool, and I didn't bring multivitamins. So, multivitamins is one thing I want to get delivered.
Do you consistently take multivitamins at home?
Usually, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I take them every night. Yeah, so multivitamins.
Most nights.
I want to get, I found this really cool robe that's like a robe to like lounge around in that it's red and it has gold dragons on it. So I want to get that. It's pretty sweet. And I think it's only like $8 for this robe. So it looks pretty cool.
We need to get a picture of you in the robe.
Oh, for sure. That'll be coming once I get it. I also want to get some slippers for my apartment. Then I want to get some cleaning supplies. So a mop, because here at my apartment, it's all tile floor. So a mop would be really useful. I might also get if I can find a cheap, little vacuum, I might get one of those as well. Let's see here. Other things I wanted for my apartment. If I can find a cheap rice cooker, I might get a cheap rice cooker. I want to get a blender because I know you can get blenders here for fairly cheap. Other than that, I didn't bring a ping pong paddle, so I want to order a ping pong paddle as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
that's necessary.
That's key. The funny thing is that I've asked, colleagues and students of mine, where can I buy this? Where can I buy that? They all just laugh and they give me the same answer. Just buy it online. The app is called Taobao. So buy it on Taobao and you can get everything there.
Is it connected to WeChat in any way?
You can use WeChat or Alipay, which is like Alibaba is another big website. You can use WeChat or Alipay to pay for stuff. And you'll see QR codes everywhere in China, and you scan the QR code, and that's how you pay them.
Oh, okay. Huh. All right. Yeah. Are you feeling, is there anything about being there that's just consistently still frustrating to you?
The internet blockage.
That's fair.
The Great Firewall of China, as they call it. Basically, any social media that I was using in the West, I can't really use. And I've tried out some of the Chinese, like there's a Chinese YouTube called Youku, Youku. And they have a lot of stuff in English there, but it takes forever to load. There's a lot of advertisements.
Really?
So the internet stuff isn't great here. That's really frustrating. That's really my only quarrel so far.
It's good to see food hasn't been as big of a concern as we thought it was going to be.
Right. It really hasn't. And I've had a lot of really delicious Chinese food while I've been here. The food's been great. I haven't had to use my Z-Pack for traveler's diarrhea just yet, so that's been good. Also, though, I haven't been super adventurous in terms of eating street food or meat that's like you can get a lot of stuff on skewers. It's like street food. And the reason why I probably won't try that is I don't know how long it's been sitting out. If I saw the dude cook it right away and I could be like, give me that one, I would probably try it. But most of them, you just see a ton of them and they're just sitting there. So it's how long has that been out? You don't know what kind of bacteria is collecting on it. It's dangerous. And we were told, do not eat street food.
That's just foolish.
Right.
Because, No, I'm with you on that. That makes sense.
So yeah.
I was going to ask you about homesickness, but I know you, and I guess I'm asking, but I'm going to answer for you. You don't seem like a guy that really suffers from that. And I thought maybe because you're in a more, a much different culture than what you're used to, maybe it would be a little different.
Right.
But at least in my experience talking to you over the past couple of weeks, You seem to be doing all right.
Yeah. Well, I would say one, I would definitely say I'm still in the honeymoon stage of being here. I think that usually lasts for like a month and a half, maybe 2 months. Most places you go to, I feel like in the Czech Republic, I was in the honeymoon stage almost the entire time just because I had such great colleagues and great friends, and it was a lot of fun. Also, really great beer and really good food. Could get lots of schnitzel all the time, so that made me a happy camper. You betcha. But here I will tell you this. I haven't really felt homesickness, but I definitely do certain stuff that, like, I'll go to a couple different restaurants because they serve Western food, just because for me as a Westerner, like, Chinese food isn't a type of cuisine I eat every day. You know, whereas for Chinese people, that's just what they eat every day.
It's just food.
For me as a Westerner, Chinese food, exactly, it's just food. Whereas for me, it's like, it's
Chinese food 3 days in a row, really?
Exactly. But I need to change my mentality about that because it's expensive to eat Western food here.
There's a premium on it. I mean, it's like a luxury almost.
Right. But I do go to KFC more than I should. One, because I really like the wings there. They're a little spicy. And so I do go to KFC more than I should. It's not healthy in the long run. But now that I've gotten paid by the university, I want to get some cooking oil and some like different seasonings and stuff and start trying to cook here. Because I do have enough time in the evenings and in the mornings to like cook some food. And I want to better develop my cooking skills. Because as Jared knows, and I'm sure most of our listeners know, I'm a terrible cook. I think that's a good skill to have, and I want to learn it while I'm here. So let me give you a few observations, though, Jared.
Okay.
But yeah, to wrap up, homesickness so far hasn't been an issue. So some observations, just some quick ones I've noticed while being in China. Number one, if you come to China, be ready to smell some smells that you have never smelled before. What I mean by this is delicious smells coming from restaurants where it's like, I don't know what that is, but that smells heavenly. You're going to walk by some dumpsters and think, holy crap, I didn't know something could smell so terrible. You are going to be walking around like a crowded area and just be like, I don't know where that's coming from or what that is, but okay. So the smells here in China have been really interesting.
As far as smells go.
Fine. The trains are really clean. I've only been on the high-speed trains, so I haven't been on the slow trains. I've heard the slow trains are very different.
I can imagine that.
Right. But the high-speed trains are great, and I would say they're even cleaner and they're even better than European high-speed railways. Okay. And they're cheaper.
All right.
So, yeah.
I like that. All right, what else do you have?
So that another funny observation I've made here is Chinese people can take a nap anywhere. So usually from 1 to 2 o'clock in China, a lot of places that's like their rest time. I kid you not, Jared. I should have taken a picture of this guy. I really should have. I don't know why I didn't.
It's probably
maybe I didn't want to be that weird guy. Yeah. But I saw a guy take a nap on literally like in China. You have a lot of like gates and like areas where you'll have little like chains. This dude literally was balanced on this chain and took a nap.
Okay, now you should have taken a picture of that.
I should have taken a picture.
Amazing.
Yeah. One, I don't know how he was balanced. My theory is he had the chain in between his butt cheeks. That's my theory. Is he had the chain in between his butt cheeks and he was clenching the chain. That's how he balanced.
That is so amazing.
Right.
Who even looks at that as like, oh, here's a great spot to lie down.
Right. Let's take a nap. Exactly. I've seen numerous Chinese people, like I said, usually between 1 and 2 o'clock, that I'll see feet dangling out of the window of their car and they're taking a nap in their car. I've seen people take naps.
I've slept in my car before when I had jobs back in the day.
Right. But yeah, I've just seen so many people take naps. I've seen teachers take a nap in the teacher's lounge. We have these super comfy couches in our teacher's lounge.
So there's no shame at like you can do it around your own coworker, so they're not going to be like, all right, look at Susan over there sleeping.
I see people take naps in public, like on a bench outside in public. So yeah, so that one was kind of cool. Like just walking around being, oh, they're out cold. Okay. They're taking a nap. Another observation of mine, though, here in China is incredibly safe. Like
I was about to say, that goes along with the napping thing. I don't trust anyone around me to nap in public.
Right. China, to me, is incredibly safe. I had a woman sit next to me on the train from Beijing to Jinan, and she had her laptop, and she literally set her laptop next to me when she went to the bathroom. I never would do that in the States.
If
Like
that was
her
in-
laptop, her phone.
If that was in a lot of European countries that we've been to, that thing would have been gone so fast.
Oh, it'd be gone real quick. Absolutely. So the safety here in China is great. I've never felt unsafe. I've walked around by myself. Now, granted,
have,
it does help that I'm a guy, I guess, but still.
Now, this isn't like a safety thing, really, but is pickpocketing an issue there, especially for a big white person like you?
I've heard it can be, but once again, if you
have
take
all
the
your
necessary
stuff.
precautions, you probably won't get got, as we say here on the Untranslatable podcast.
You betcha.
I don't think it's too big of an issue. What I have heard is if you do get pickpocketed, it's not the standard European way where like people bump into you or make a distraction. Somebody will walk around with like long medical tweezers, these super long metal tweezers, and they'll just use them to go in your pocket and whoop. But I've seen a couple Chinese people. I mean, they probably could. But I've seen a lot of people in China walk around with their phones hanging out of their back pocket. Like it's a larger phone and it doesn't go all the way in their back pocket.
Oh,
And
yeah, I see what you mean.
For me, I just think, what are you doing? But
Yeah, I wouldn't even
They
do
do
that
it in-
walking around Michigan.
right, I wouldn't do that anywhere. But so it seems very safe. I haven't seen anybody like get in fights or yell or anything like that. To me, it seems
Have you
very
seen
safe.
like any like clearly drunk people?
Not really, but I don't really go out at night. Like where I live, there are only 2 or 3 bars, and the
Do you
latest
miss that?
I've been
like
there.
not. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I cut you
Not
off.
really. No, you're
Okay.
good. I don't really miss it at all, to be honest. I usually just stay at home, and I know this sounds like an old person right now, but I stay at home and I read or I play guitar, and I don't really miss it. And I had a couple beers with some friends of mine in Beijing. The beer tasted really good, but I don't know if it's because I haven't been drinking at all or the beer here is different, but I had a really bad headache like an hour after drinking that beer. And it shouldn't have been fake beer because we went to a brewery and it was on tap.
Right.
So it's not like they have counterfeit beer there, because counterfeit beer and counterfeit stuff in China is definitely a thing. I've seen tons of counterfeit Jordans while I've been here. And some of
I'd believe that. My mom used to go to China and she'd bring back a lot of goodies,
Right.
like watches, and
probably
there's
some
some of them are-
Folexes.
Some of them are very good. Like
Oh,
the,
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the level of counterfeit here, it's amazing. But the way you can tell, at least in terms of sneakers, how they're counterfeit is if it's a color scheme that like they don't make. That's the easy tell.
it's not a rare, hard to get. They just put that together themselves.
Right. Like there's a pair of Jordans here. They're Jordan 11s, and they have like I've looked on the Nike store online to see, and they have these which have like a purple colorway on like the around the shoe, and it looks awesome. And I might try to find me a pair because they look sweet, but I know they're counterfeit. They're definitely not real.
Okay.
So yeah.
Jordan 11s look hilarious to me. I cannot imagine you wearing. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
The low
They're not-
tops too.
Yeah, I like the high tops better.
Okay. The high tops I
see
think
the-
look better, but they still look a little bulbousy to me.
Right. I mean, the pair that I would want, there's a pair of black and blue ones that Jordan wore on the Space Jam movie. And I would love Space
I'm
Jam
looking
as a
at
kid.
those. Yeah.
Those are dope. They're black
I'm
and
looking
blue.
at those, right
are
now.
sweet.
And like a light blue is on the sole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those do look
Yeah,
cool.
so
They look better in the
I'd
black,
like
but
to-
maybe it hides the bulbousness of it.
Might be. Yeah, the white and blue ones, yeah, definitely have a specific look to them. But yeah, but the other cool thing is the style here in China is way different than in the States. Like I've noticed people tend to wear like baggier clothes, and I don't think this is like because a lot of Chinese people that I've met are very skinny. I think that's just kind of what the style is right now. Like I see a lot of girls wear like baggier pants. I see dudes wear baggy pants, and then they're like, in the States, we would call them flood pants because they like don't even go to their ankles, or capris, I guess.
High waters.
High waters, right. But like we've talked about in one of the other episodes that we did, I think it was either 129 or 130, is like the funny English writing on clothing. And I bought a flannel that said "Stretch the limit." I do bad things and I do them very well, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I went back to that store to look for a coat actually for Mongolia, and none of the coats really fit me properly, and they weren't as thick as I wanted them to be. But I did find 2 more flannels, Jared, that they do say the same thing on the back, Stretch the Limit. I just think
This
that's
is a different
so funny.
store you found these at?
Same store
Oh, okay,
that I
okay,
found
okay,
that one
okay.
at. But I got one that's like a really cool, like green and white, and another one that's like a purple and salmon color.
I love you're gonna get these in every color.
Basically, yeah, basically. My 3XL flannel. But I did find a hoodie that I thought was really funny. It said "charming" on the chest of it in cursive, and then it had like a little, like a sticker isn't the right term, like a little patch on the arm that said "It's holidays." And so, yeah, doesn't even make sense. But like when I saw that initially, I was like, "That's kind of a cool hoodie."
I love
wanna
it
buy
that it
that.
doesn't
I
make
didn't.
sense to me too. Like
Right.
that kind of makes it cooler to me for some reason.
Right. Well, I found a really cool coat that I was going to buy that had a black and white American flag, and it said "environmentally conscious." It said like all these funny things, and none of them were even remotely related to each other. So I almost was going to buy that, but it was kind of expensive, so I didn't get it.
I don't mean to cut you off, but do you have any more observations?
My last observation about China is, if you come here with an open mind, because China is such a huge country and it's so different in so many places. Come here with an open mind and don't have too many expectations, because you will see things that that will just make you go, "What?" And you'll look at it again.
Yourself.
So yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's get on to the song of the pod, Jared, which
You betcha.
it is a Chinese song. It is, I couldn't tell you what the characters are, but it is OT Because I Love You by Elba Hasiao. I don't know how to say the last name. But yeah, I don't know if it's on YouTube because I can't access YouTube, but it is on Spotify. Did you find it on
found it.
YouTube, Jared?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It seems she seems like she seems like sort of like a pop star that was famous in the late 90s, early 2000s vibe is what I got from her.
Okay.
And obviously she's still doing it now. But
Right.
she was very soft spoken. It was like a sort of like a I don't know what she's singing about, so there's that. But yeah. What do you think about it? How'd you find this song?
I went on Spotify and just typed in Chinese songs.
Okay.
So shout out to Jeffrey Chen who created this. There are 338 songs on this playlist. So if you have Spotify, check it out. And it's the second song on the playlist. So I just clicked on it. And I clicked on it because there were Chinese characters and English. And so I figured there would be a mixture of both. And I love the switching between Chinese and English. But what's funny though, Jared, is if you listen to the music, it's actually, and I think they got away with this because it's in China, not in the States. In the States, this would be a lawsuit for sure. Do you know
I only
did they
listened to
take?
it once. I didn't hear it, so I didn't hear it close enough.
So Jared, the background music goes doon, doon, doo doo doon,
Oh.
doo doo doo,
In the
doo doo doo. Exactly. Yeah.
Stand by me.
Yeah, exactly. So that was another reason why I picked it. I was like, wait a minute. I've heard this before. But it's really catchy. I think it sounds really nice. I like the way that Chinese sounds when they sing it. And Elba Xiao, I hope I'm saying your name right, has a nice voice and it's pretty catchy. Definitely an earworm, as the Germans would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that was a good choice. Do you when I have another recommendation for your language, not your class, but the little table thing you do. When you answer that question about music, I would recommend that you ask them for some of their favorite artists.
I will. Absolutely. That's a great idea. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
All right.
Well, now I think it's time for the Chinese word of the pod.
Yes.
And so mine is Zhongguo, which is Chinese for China.
Interesting. That's how they say China. Say it again.
Zhongguo.
Interesting. I wonder, how did we get China out of that, you know?
I couldn't tell you, buddy.
My Spanish word of the pod is aislado. Now, I'd say this is almost, I might even say, not a false friend, but a cognate, a real friend.
Can you say it again?
Aislado. Yeah. Aislado.
Got me stumped, Jared. Got me stumped.
Isolated. Lonely.
Oh. Isolado? Is that how you say it? How do you say it?
Aislado.
Oh, asilado? Okay.
No,
Okay.
Aislado.
Oh, okay. All right.
Aislado.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, as a Westerner here, you definitely do feel a bit isolated. And when I was walking home the other night, there were some dudes speaking Spanish, and we all gave each other the head nod, like, what's up? One of these days, I'm just going to...
like, please.
Well, one of these days, I think it's going to
me.
come to a point where I'm going to stop them and be like, where are you guys from? What's up? I'm going to join you guys and just invite myself along to the party.
Like a social sort of like a need that's going to overtake you, essentially?
Probably. Right now, the nice thing is, I get a lot of interactions between the teachers and the students at my university. So actually, my social battery, as I like to call it, is kind of dead after I teach.
That's good.
Because I teach for like over 2 hours, so it's a
That's
long,
a good point, yeah.
long time to teach and be standing and walking around. But number two is, I'm doing a lot of talking. I also, in the breaks, I get to talk to some of the professors at the university, and we always have a nice chat. But I'm sure there will come a time when we'll be looking for that more social interactions. All right, well, I have a couple jokes for you, Jared. And I tried to find some good ones related to China. One that weren't either outright racist or offensive. And I think I found two of them. So here we go. So, Jared, what do you call a party at the Chinese zoo?
I don't know.
Pandemonium.
Okay.
I think any jokes about pandas are good ones, since there are pandas in China. And my last joke for you today, Jared, is what's purple, 1,000 miles long, and 12 feet high?
What's that?
The Great Wall of China.
That is a giant. I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad at myself for laughing at that.
I feel like that definitely starts to get in the brink of a dad joke for sure. The Great Wall of China.
Yeah, you think?
Right. But yeah, so yeah, now I think it's time to wrap up the episode. So I would say really, if I could wrap up this 1 month of China in a couple words or a phrase or two, I think the big thing would just be, one is patience, because everything I do here takes a lot longer than I'm used to.
Yes.
So number one would be patience, but number two would be, don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone, try new things, and ask for help, because I've had so many students that have been very helpful. When I lost electricity a couple days ago because I thought the university would just handle all of my bills, but it turns out that the way it works here is I will pay the bill and then the university will reimburse me for the costs. So
your power just turned off one day?
So I came home from Beijing on Sunday, ready to do my lesson planning and my work for the week, and I realized my air conditioner was off. So I was like, that's weird. Like, I turned it on like power save mode, but I didn't turn it off. And then I went to hit the lights, and the lights wouldn't turn on. And I tried all the lights in the other rooms in my apartment, and I'm like, cool, I have no power. My laptop, of course, is at 20% battery life, so this will be fun. So I messaged a student and said, hey, could you contact the property management and find out what's going on? And he was like, oh, yeah, apparently you didn't pay your electricity bill. And I was like, wait, I thought the university was handling that. And so we got it all figured out, and as you can tell, because I have my laptop plugged in and there are lights on behind me, that the power is back on. It came back on a couple hours later. So, so ask for help here in China, because from my experience so far, the Chinese people I've met have been so nice, so friendly, and so helpful, and I have nothing but great things to say about them. So it's been a good experience. Time has been flying, and I hope everyone has enjoyed my 2 cents. It's been a lot more than 2 cents today, but my 2 cents about what's been going on in China.
You betcha.
So, as I said, we hope you enjoy. And if you have any other questions, let us know at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Jared will, of course, have to send those my way because of the Great Firewall of China. I will not be able to personally access those. But check out our other social media accounts. Untranslatable Podcast on Instagram. We have a couple China pictures up. I'll try to do a much better job of taking more pictures because there's a lot of cool stuff around here. Once I actually get a couple other things set up so I can ride a bike around, I'll have more opportunities to travel around here.
Brilliant.
So keep your eyes out for that. Check out our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast, for Songs of the Pod. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, check that out. And lastly, please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So we thank you. And as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme, muchas gracias, and 谢谢.